So I'm going to give you some help with that, hopefully. So the what? So what's the ROI of all this? The bad news is, let's take it a little further. Earlier I shared with you the 1 out of 3 are engaged. Well, guess what? In the US alone, the last I checked, according to Gallup, about $500 billion a year are lost with that disengaged 2/3. Break it down to your own organization. It adds up. It adds up. So shareholder return, when there are engaged employees, increases by 19%. This is according to Hewitt Associates, the large HR consulting firm. And when you have low engagement, not only does it drops 44% compared to the median, versus those that are highly engaged employees see a stock increase of 19%. That's staggering for me, hopefully for you as well. So another video, folks. Many of you might have seen this. Very, very popular way to bash United Airlines, and that's not my point. But this one's been seen by 10.8, the last I took this picture, million people, and was produced in July 6, 2009. So let's watch the video, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. That's okay, we'll get it. So Barry was very kind to download the others directly, and this one is going out to wireless, so maybe it won't work. We'll give it a second. Oh, there we go. Oh, it is stuck. Yeah, okay, all right. So we'll come out of that. That's okay. I love telling this story. So Dave, the guy who is in that video. That video, if you'd seen it, is a parody. It's a funny musical. He's an artist, a guitar player and singer, and he created this parody after the following happened to him. A year prior to this video, he had been on a United Airlines flight. And sitting in the plane, he looked out the window. Actually, somebody pointed out to him, looking out the plane, that they were tossing guitars or bags and stuff, and he noticed that his guitar was getting tossed. He got to the other end, and it was broken. He was busy, he's an artist, he had to get to his gig, etc. It took him 2 days to get to United Airlines to complain about it. By the time he did that, he said, sorry, we have a 48-hour policy. You're not covered anymore, we can't take your claim. It took him a year of back and forth with customer service to try and get compensation for something that was at least worth $1,500, nothing. So he created this funny video, which I highly recommend you go find. Just type in United Breaks Guitars on YouTube, and you'll see it. It's just 4 minutes long. Just see the first minute, you'll get it. And he does this amazing parody where he shows you, when he calls it to the flight attendant's attention that, hey, look, they're doing this. Stop them. She goes, not my department. Not, talk to the hand. And, so right up to a year, nothing, right? This comes out, it becomes a social media sensation. So what does United do? Panic and call him. We'd love to compensate you now. And he creates another video, which the last I checked had 2.5 million viewers, and goes to say, hey, United called me and wanted to give me money. And I said, no, thanks, give it to charity. All right, did that help United? Nope. Have they woken up now? Maybe. But at the heart of it is, how are those people showing up? Everyone. I'm not talking about branding people, marketing people, HR people. I'm not even talking about the flight attendants, who we know are the front-end people. But every touch that you have with your customer has to be representative of your brand, like the Southwest example, from what I hear. All right? So this is just one of those classic cases of don't underestimate the value of how your people show up. Another piece of data from Blessing White. This was staggering, and to me, please, if you haven't heard any of the other numbers, listen to this one. So why do people stay? Those that are engaged stay for what they give a company. Those that are disengaged and are pretty much part of the talk to the hand stay for what they get. So regardless of which side of the fence you're on, You know, where are you? Just choose. It's your choice. If you're the employee, disgruntled, unhappy, make a choice. Decide if you want to give there or where else do you want to give. Move on and do it. Like Seth Godin said, start it. Take that first step towards what you really want. So the good news is, folks, that again, back to Dan Pink, the three things. I want to give you three quick examples. Busby, Hannah's probably in the room. Hannah, hand up. There she is. I'll talk more about Hannah in just a minute. Busby is a small consulting firm in town, marketing, strategy, and consulting. And what they did was they created a purposeful, purpose-driven company. I'm going to showcase them again in just a bit. An example of autonomy, IDEO is a design firm out of the Bay Area. They've done amazing things, like for Air New Zealand. They created a, Air New Zealand said, hey, we want to have our long-haul economy seats be so that people can sleep and be comfortable. And of course, we can't afford business class style seats. What do? So IDEO came in. They mocked up an airplane in their office or wherever they were doing this project. They tried a bunch of different things. They tried stuff like, you know where you put the luggage up on top? They said, how about if people could sleep up there? And they tried it, and they had a guy, you know, stepping down from over someone's head, and they went, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to feel too good. Cancel that one. They finally ended up with a cocoon kind of thing where you flatten your seats so it becomes a flat platform, and especially in those seats of 3 in a row, for a family, like, you know, a couple and a kid, can all cuddle up and still get some sleep, rather than putting the kid down on the floor that you see many times on economy long-haul flights. You actually have a flat, you know, the armrests go up and the whole thing becomes flat. That comes out of the autonomy of letting employees and the client and customers go out and invent and break the box. And we talk about thinking outside of the box. Well, it really takes courage to do it, and very few of us actually do it. It doesn't come out of a 1-hour brainstorming or even a 1-day offsite to go come up with ideas. It happens constantly, constantly, constantly. And IDEO is my favorite example of that. Mastery, Zappos. I'm going to talk about them a lot. They're my best example of that. They live their values. They're, you know, companies pay to learn from them. Talk about how they've created Zappos Insights, which is a training wing. So yeah, they are masterful in what they do. So let's get right into that case study. Zappos. Well, you know, firstly, I mean, full credit to Tony Hsieh. The title of today's talk, Your Culture is Your Brand, is taken from Tony Hsieh, the CEO and founder of Zappos. He's written a blog entry. I highly recommend you go look for that original epic, really epic blog entry about why values are what it's all about. So let's see if this works.
One of our core values is to be humble. And our offices are located in Las Vegas, and we actually offer tours to the public. So anytime anyone in the audience is going to Vegas, you can sign up for a tour, pick you up from the airport in a Zappos shuttle, give you a tour which takes about an hour, and then drop you off at your hotel afterwards. So we do the exact same thing for our candidates visiting from out of town. They'll get the tour, and then they'll spend the rest of the day interviewing. Well, at the end of the day of interviews, the recruiter will circle back to the shuttle driver and ask how he or she was treated. And it doesn't matter how well the day of interviews went. If the shuttle driver wasn't treated well, we won't hire that person. And the reverse is true, too. We'll fire people, even if they're a superstar, if they're not living up to the core values.
And does that happen very often?
Well, we try to. It's a lot easier if you catch it on the front end. And so it doesn't happen as often because we're so, we actually separate the hiring decisions. So there's a hiring manager that interviews for kind of the standard stuff, experience, technical ability, and so on. And then our HR department interviews for core values and culture fit. And they have to pass both in order to be hired.
So there you go, directly from Tony. So, okay, I lied. The second slide with lots of words on it. But it's really important to share this with you because you know, a lot of us have seen those posters up on walls, brochures and fancy stuff and your website that talks about your values. But these guys really, I mean, the language of their values are human. They're real, and they live them day after day. So first, what he says is, as we grow as a company, it has become more and more important to explicitly define the core values from which we develop our culture. He starts with culture, our brand, and our business strategies. Third, these are the 10 core values that we live by, and I'll just touch on a few of them. Delivering wow through service. And I'll show you how they do that on Twitter, just as one example. Embracing and driving change. Creating a fun and a little weird environment. Being adventurous. Be more with less. Sure, they are pragmatic. Doesn't mean that they've got boats of money, even though they were bought by Amazon. Be passionate and determined, and be humble. So, five things about them that to me is evidence of the ROI of happiness, folks. ROI of happiness. He's written a book, Delivering Happiness, but they were sold to Amazon last year for $1.25 billion. That's an amazing thing. But here's what's more amazing. He retained their culture, their location in Las Vegas, and their brand. They have not been assimilated in the way that most, acquisitions happen. He was deliberate in making sure he got that. It takes courage to do that. Number two, he shared that entire $1.25 billion with the employees. I believe at the time there were 400 of them. I believe it was done on the basis of your the percentage of your pay. So if you make 1% of the full payroll, you're going to get 1% of $1.25 billion. Not just the top execs, everybody in the company. There's somewhere out there on I think there's a video, or he talks about it in Delivering Happiness, about how people cried about being able to pay off medical bills with ailing family members, how they paid off homes. Do you think he has loyal employees that really want to do their best, do mastery, autonomy, and purpose for Zappos? Absolutely. Happy customers. He went against the grain. Most companies with retail services are, don't want to go 800 number, big expense center, managing those call centers and outsourcing it and training those folks in India and blah, 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 blah. He has his 800 number on every page. And they do free returns because they realize there would be a big obstacle in selling shoes online. Will people really buy them? They want to try them on. So how do we break through that? Just return it. Easy. He did it. Culture as a marketing asset. So I refer to Zappos Insights. He's created a division, a training division, where you can go as an employee, pay them for, I believe, 3 to 4 days, pretty decent amount, but not astronomical amount, to go learn how to embrace the things that they do and how to make it your own in your culture and create your culture in your company. Or, again, to be clear, I believe there's always a culture. The question is, are we aware of it? And are we willing to refine it, to change it, to tweak it, to adjust it, with the pain that might come along the way? And lastly, he's open and transparent. He's put out a book called The Culture Book. Comes out every year, and all it is these it's fancy, it's really slick. I've got one, it's about this big. It's colorful, there are pictures of employees, and there are quotes from employees. And the only editing they do is for grammar. So if you want to badmouth Zappos, go for it. You're not going to get fired. And sure enough, there is no badmouthing. And they're such heartfelt ones. If you email me, I'll send you some quotes from the book, or I encourage you to go get it. I mean, put it out for free. You can order one and get one in the mail. So finally, he created Zappos Insights and then Delivering Happiness, a separate CEO for Delivering Happiness. They showcase a person every week, the VHB, Very Happy Person of the Week. It's a movement, folks. Tony Hsieh and his billion-dollar enterprise is a movement. It's not just some whim and fancy. It's a movement. And I'd love for you to join in to be part of that. And again, India. So Kishore Bayani is the founder of the largest retail house in India. Consider them the Walmart/Costco of India. And he's written a book called It Happened in India, which is mostly about it happened in India, how they went global. And they never used to have shopping malls, and now they have shopping malls because of him. So he's really the king of retail. But I love this comparison of the old and the new, and I'll, again, just touch on a few of them. So from stability and consolidation to speed and imagination, from delegation to abdication. Wow, how scary for a leader to abdicate. Mass production to personalization, to enforce order, to thrive in chaos. From MBAs, and he talks about designers earlier, from TQM and Six Sigma to design management, to learning from the design community on how to design management. And zero-sum game, to win-win-win. Brilliant stuff. So my point here is people are resilient. You and I are resilient. We can get up regardless of what's come in the past from 2008 and this recession and what may come today and tomorrow. We can do it.